the beginning and the end, we have skeletal muscle. We have skeletal muscle in the mouth, in the upper third of the esophagus. It starts to mix in the middle third, and the anal canal. The rest in between is going to be smooth muscle. All right? So, the lower esophagus, stomach, SI is small intestine, colon, and rectum. So everywhere where we have simple columnar epithelium, we also have smooth muscle. Okay? The esophagus is kind of a transition. The smooth muscle is in two layers. So there's an inner circular. In other words, it's going in circles, in rings, around the, kind of what you see here. So the longitudinal direction of the muscle fibers is to encircle the lumen of the digestive tract. Then we have an outer longitudinal. So now the length of the muscle fibers is directed the length of the tube. So here they've been cut in cross-section because the tube has been cut in cross-section. And then only in the stomach we have an innermost oblique, going kind of at right angles to the others. And this is because of the extensive role of mechanical digestion and twisting and churning that the stomach has. Having this oblique layer helps it do that. So this provides a motility known as peristalsis. We have a faculty member. She hasn't taught 431 in a while because her teaching needs had to change. But one day I had class after she did. She had the morning and I had the afternoon class. And I came in and there was a little Chinese takeout box sitting on the counter that was moving. Oh. And there was scrabbling kind of going on. And I said, "What's in there?" She said, "A mouse." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Well, I illustrated peristalsis to my students today by bringing in my rattlesnake and feeding it a couple of mice." She kept a rattlesnake in her office. And I was like, okay. The way I illustrate peristalsis is to imagine that you had a pair of sweatpants or a jacket that had a drawstring, and it came out. So not came undone or whatever. So you decide to put the string back in the hem, and so you take a large safety pin, stick it through the end of one of your drawstrings. Be sure and close it, and then you push it into the opening of the drawstring. And what do? You bunch up the fabric, hold onto the pin, and pull the fabric out behind it. Bunch it up again, hold onto the pin, and pull the fabric out behind it. That's what our inner circular and outer longitudinal muscle do, all right? So the longitudinal bunches up the digestive tract, the inner circular then constricts behind the food, and the outer longitudinal relaxes, and then bunches up in front, and that's the kind of way it moves through the digestive tract. If you want to see a rattlesnake, go on to YouTube. Well, I'm not going to, because we will even think about that. All right, so then we have our outermost layer. Which is the serosum. Sometimes known as. So typically, from the stomach to the superior rectum. We have a serosa, which is the same as the visceral peritoneum. Middle rectum and inferior rectum and anal canal are in the pelvis. We don't have a peritoneum down there, all right? Most of the esophagus is in the thoracic cavity. We don't have a peritoneum there. So those structures are like blood vessels. They just have an outer layer of something similar to the submucosa, a dense connective tissue. And so if we don't have a serosa, we would have an adventitia. And that would be the esophagus, primarily is described as having an adventitia. And we have one other structure that kind of takes the place of the serosa. What part of our digestive tract have I left out here? Besides the anal canal? No, esophagus has the adventitia. The mouth. So we have the lining, the mucosa of the mouth is going to be non-cornified stratified squamous. We would have a submucosa, and then we would have the muscularis externa would be the skeletal muscle of your masseter and your buccinator and so on. So then what would take the place of the serosa? Skin. So that would be the outermost structure of your mouth. Okay? So I'm going to just put that in here as we go through. Kind of we try to force some of these changes to actually fit here. Okay? We're going to stop there. I think with an exam in an hour and 15, 20 minutes, a lecture is enough. We haven't even talked about any organs yet. But we'll, again, with these parts of the GPAC, as we go through each of the organs, I'll describe how they fit or how they differ for those components. So there's a box over there for your homework or extra credit. I'm just going to both in there. You happen to have your
sister called me and said stopped recording.